to the 5K Yarns podcast with Billo. This is a podcast where the finish line is just the beginning of the story. Every Saturday morning, all around the world, people like you and me gather to walk, jog or run, or just cheer from the sidelines. The guests I have conversations with attend these parkruns. It's formed an important part of their weekly routine. Some attend with their dogs, with prams, with their mates, and even with their families. Some just like to do it by themselves. Some chase PBs, some chase community, and some just chase the post-run coffee. After all, that's what it's all about, right? This podcast will share their stories with you. Each episode I sit down with everyday parkrun heroes. Hear what this little 5K means to them. Because behind every barcode, there's a yarn worth telling. Lace up, sit down, tune in, and let's go for a run together. Now, before I introduce my guests, we should go and cover the disclaimer. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on the 5K Yarns podcast with Billo belong solely to the host, which is me, and my guests, and do not reflect the views of any affiliated organisations mentioned, sponsors, or partners. The content shared on this podcast is for entertainment and informational purposes only, and should not be considered professional advice. Listeners' discretion is advised, especially as the topic may include some strong language and sensitive material. Now let's get on with the podcast. Hi everybody, welcome to the podcast. My guest for this episode is someone I met through a mutual parkrun friend. Now, at the same time, I also happened to be working with my guest's father in a company that we worked for. Now, this sounds quite weird, I know, but that's the 6 degrees of what parkrun world is all about. Now, with a gentleman that I work with, I recall him saying to me, I've got a son that's actively involved in parkrun in the ACT. And I thought, oh yeah, no worries. And then just through conversation with our mutual friend, which happens to be a person by the name of Roberta Winters, I see this name pop up. And I thought, same surname. Wonder if that's the person. Took it back to work the very next opportunity. And sure enough, we connect the dots. Now, my guest started their parkrun journey on the 7th of November 2020, so a bit over 4 years ago. Now, to date, he has completed 175 parkruns at 127 locations, which are all in Australia. So I hope he's got some aspirations to do some international ones at some stage in the future. We'll talk a little bit more as we get on in the podcast. He has volunteered more than he has run or walked, with 199 volunteer credits at 150 locations, which gives him a volunteer ratio of 113%, which is absolutely incredible. He has attended 128 locations in total on 226 occasions. His parkrun PB currently sits at 18 minutes 17 seconds, which was on the 30th of January 2021 at Riverbank Parkrun in Yass, New South Wales. His average finishing time currently sits at 42 minutes and 39 seconds. He is based in the ACT and he is athlete A684562 and he is Mr. Tyson Flynn. G'day, mate.
G'day, Billo. How are you, son?
Going all right, buddy. Glad you could join me on this occasion. Certainly keen to hear about your parkrun life because I know that you're a very lively young lad.
You can certainly say that, mate. You can certainly say that.
Now, I want to throw some figures at you. How many parkruns do you think we have attended at the same time?
You and I. Well, it's definitely one that we were not really parkrunning at. We probably decided to do more photos at and male modelling at. I'll say.
As you will see from the photo.
I don't know. So there's definitely one. So let's go another 3. Let's go 4 total.
Well, you're close. Actually, 3 in total.
Okay, yeah.
So the first time we actually did parkrun at the same location, and we absolutely didn't know each other at this point of time, was on the 8th of May 2021 in Wagga, event number 149.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. So and that's the only time I've ever done Wagga parkrun.
Yeah.
The second time was a bit over a year later, which was the 30th of July 2022, which happens to be the parkrun which is closer to my where I reside and where I live, but it's not my home parkrun, and that is Willow Parkrun.
Yep.
And that was event 141.
Yep.
And then, of course, the last one we mentioned, which was a fun day, was Tallangata Station on the 16th of November last year, and that was event 82. So, it was certainly enjoyable.
That was, yeah.
So parkrun, mate, parkrun. Tell me, how did you discover it and what made you get into it?
Well, I was a rugby league referee for 20 years. So that was from 2000 through to 2019. So I was refereeing in Sydney as well in New South Wales Rugby League comp, just underneath the NRL for 10 years. So I knew of parkrun through, I guess, all my refereeing mates, and it's something that we could never really do because Saturday morning, 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in Sydney for those guys, meant you were laying down 5Ks early in the day, and then you'd have to referee, maybe 1 or 2 games in the Arvo. So it was never really something that was, I guess, encouraged from our coaches in Sydney and certainly in Canberra to go and fatigue yourself early in the morning. So once I retired, which was the end of 19, that's when I decided that in and around that time to start up. So that's sort of where it started off with. Very good.
Now, with that, you were actually a part of the event team at, it would still be the newest parkrun in the ACT region, wouldn't it? So, which is Point Hut Pond Parkrun, is that right?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. So this year we had our 2nd year anniversary. I'm no longer part of the event team there. So what happened was I decided to have 2 years getting it going. Once it started, then 2 years ongoing, getting through everything during the week that an event director and a run director encompasses. But then it was 2 years before that, so 4 years total. Some of the events nowadays, they're up and going rather quickly, but ours was in and around that COVID time. So there was some other, I guess, hoops we needed to jump through to get it started. So, but yeah, that's that story there, I guess, in a small little nutshell.
Very good. Is there any more on the radar in the ACT region that you're aware of?
Well, everyone keeps asking me when I'm going to start the next one, which would be Fadden Pines. But I do love my touristing, so to sit back and I guess be part of another event team and get another one established, it does take a lot of your time up. So yeah, I think in time that's something that I would enjoy. Starting one is phenomenal, so to start multiple would be just incredible. But it's all for community. So yeah, the idea is that Tuggeranong, which encompasses about 100,000 people, for a long time, up until 2 years ago, was only servicing one parkrun, which was Lake Tuggeranong Parkrun. So if you put that into perspective in places like Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, you'd be laughing. There'd be multiple. So the north of Canberra has a lot, and my dream was to stick it to the north-siders, north of the bridge, as we say down here, and get another one started, which was Point Hut, which was in the, I guess it's the right way to describe it. I guess in Tuggeranong they wanted to have sort of three, a bit of a triangle. So Tuggeranong being the start of that pyramid, and then down to the bottom left was Point Hut, and then across to the bottom right would be Fadden Pines. So that's the little triangle that we, I guess, hope in time occurs in Canberra. But yeah, not in the short term, as in the next couple of years. But yeah, maybe down the line in 5 years' time.
Yeah, it definitely takes dedicated individuals to make it happen. I think a lot of parkrunners don't realise what sort of work's involved behind the scenes to get it up and running. By the time you get your permission from the landholder, you go through all the paperwork, you work out your course, and then everything else. It is quite a time-consuming task. And look, I've been asked the same thing of an area here that I've actually sort of flagged would be a great spot for a parkrun. Yep. People keep asking me, when's it happening? And I'm like you, I'm enjoying the touristing, but I'd love to see more junior parkruns get up and happening. So who knows, I might even sort of push down that direction. So we've mentioned a little bit about obviously your home parkrun there in the ACT. Now, if there's one thing that you could change, add, or remove from, I guess, the parkrun experience, what would it be?
I think there needs to be a change, like you just touched on with the juniors. So in the UK, where it started, there's a lot of juniors. I've got a 10-year-old son, Zach, who you've met before, and I think the AIS is here in the ACT, so there's good enough reason to have a junior event in Canberra. It's the centrepiece for Com Games and Olympic athletes to train in the ACT, and the AIS has been the home here for that for decades. So junior events in Australia is very much lacking. There's, I think, 6. There's 2 in Queensland, couple in Melbourne, which Zach's done those ones, and there's a couple over in Adelaide, I believe, as well. So we're going to try and get to them at Christmas.
One in South Australia.
Yeah.
So there's only 5 all up, but there's definitely scope for more. Definitely scope for more in places like Canberra, even where I live. Albury-Wodonga. I think the population support, and as you say, we've become a society where there's not much for youth to do, let alone activities that enable them to get involved in the community spirit, and in a roundabout way does give them skills, rather than being stuck to a device. So totally agree with you, mate.
Yeah, I've seen a
now,
lot.
Are there any parkrun?
I was just going to say, I've seen a lot of like year 11 and year 12 students doing Duke of Edinburgh hours to, get that up. But there's a big gap, I guess, from sort of, kids that once they're, maybe year 5, year 6, year 7, they're still doing it. But then there's a huge gap from that sort of 12-year-old through to that 17-year-old. Unless they're playing the sport themselves, then like you say, device time and TV time sort of consumes a lot of what they're doing. So to give them an option there in that regard, it's free. Same as the, I guess, the senior events, for want of a better term. The junior events would be great.
Or they're taking the easy way out and just standing up on a electric scooter, get around, which, I guess that's life, isn't it? Are there any parkrun goals or milestones that you got your eye on as far as achieving?
Well, it depends when this podcast gets released, Billo. This weekend we've got Lisa, who is my wife, and she's not really a parkrun tragic like yourself and I and some of the people that we've already mentioned and will mention. So she's got her 50th run this weekend. I've held her back from going through the chute for the last couple of weeks.
Nice.
So we can coordinate this weekend, then with Zach doing his 50th volunteer. He's done a ton of TAILWALKER days with me, and then myself, given I've started the event there at Point Hut, and then subsequently after, racked up a few volley days, mate, and this weekend sees 200. So it's a combined 300th milestone for us as a family this weekend.
So that's happening at Point Hut Pond, is it?
Oh no, at Tuggeranong, sorry.
Oh, Tuggeranong, okay.
Yep.
You've got some really good park runs. I've done them all in the ACT, and I didn't mind Tuggeranong. I'd have to say it's not my favourite in the ACT. I like Burley Griffin, or Burley Griffin is probably my favourite. But anyway, let's move on. So if you could identify a dream location to attend a parkrun where there currently is a parkrun, where would it be?
I think South Coast of New South Wales is screaming out for some more. Between like Bateman's Bay, they've got one, and then the next most southern one down into like Bega and Pambula. So I'd love to see one down at Narooma. And then I like going up to Sydney as well. So Sydney, there'd be, probably half a dozen spots where they could get another one rocking and rolling. But again, like you said, with permits and time to have a dedicated team. But yeah, down that south coast, I think, mate, New South Wales, that'd be good to see one down there. So they've got a new one.
Yeah, there's lots.
And that was a really, really good thing that I caught there in the last. I think you and I, or a few of us, have spoken about it in recent times, and I know that for a fact that those guys have, gone through a lot to get that one started. And yeah, Hip Hop Hooray, they're up and going.
Yeah, I did actually hear on another park-related podcast, Parkrun Adventurers. Tok was talking about that, and apparently it's been in planning for like 7-8 years or something or other. So that just shows how long it can actually take to get them up and going. But there's definitely lots and lots of towns around New South Wales that I think could benefit. And it's actually interesting. Have you had a look, have you got Paul Sinton-Hewitt, who's the founder of Parkrun, his new book?
Yeah, so I stayed with two great mates up in Brisbane last week, and Tracy Wood. You might have heard her on Tracy in a Tutu, getting around on the Parkrun Adventures podcast. So Tracy actually had the book there last week, so I had a bit of a flick through it, but I think, that's something that I need to acquire, mate. If you haven't got one and I haven't got one, then maybe we can, get a 2-for-1, see what they say.
No, mate, I've got my signed copy and it's not going anywhere. I read it over 2 days last week, and I guess the reason I'm bringing it up is that one of the comments Paul mentioned in the book is that his goal was to actually be able to, and obviously he's specifically talking about the UK, but in that sense, it's a global phenomenon now.
It is.
And his passion was to be able to see a parkrun establish in any community. So there's still lots of scope for them here in Australia, in the lots of little towns. And look, that's the reason why I asked that question, because look, I'm sure we've all travelled enough. We've all been through towns where we look around and go, geez, this place could really do with a parkrun, So, yeah, that's the reason why I asked that question, because I know everyone's got their thoughts.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that you think you go through and you just go, why doesn't this place have one? Like you said, the travel that we do, for some places to not have them, it does seem odd. And just touching on Alice, as we just have, that's a big one that's finally got one. But yeah, there'll be some new ones coming out, I think, in the next 12 months that'll be a surprise to some people as well.
Yeah, look, absolutely. So with parkrun, obviously, there's, I guess, anything in life, there's not 100% where we absolutely love it. So if there's anything within parkrun that annoys you, what would it be?
I just wish everything could run smoothly every weekend at every event, but then that would be boring. So I don't know, it's just the little 1% of things that, come up from time to time at events, and every run director team and every event team, they know what they are, and I guess we've all sort of, bitched and moaned about those over a coffee post parkrun. But for the best part, mate, they seem to run pretty well. So I think, if I could teleport myself with you and a few others to some events quicker, that'd be good. That's the downside of being in Australia, right? We've got to travel a bit to get to them.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't think too many people understand how big it is until you have to drive from, well, you don't have to, it's purely by choice, but drive from Adelaide to Coober Pedy to do a parkrun, for example. It's a long drive.
Is that 11 hours?
Yeah, about around that. It's 900 kilometres, so it's 500 k's north of Port Augusta, which is its neighbour.
And have you done that one?
So I have, yeah, I did that September last year. Quite an experience, and I definitely would say just purely for the experience of getting there and staying up there for a couple of nights in a underground hotel motel, it was certainly an experience, and certainly one definitely in the memory banks, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So away from parkrun, what else makes you tick? What other passions and interests do you have in life?
Well, mate, you know me personally, so there's a lot of fingers of mine and a lot of pies. So I don't know really where to start with that, but I guess.
Well, you've done a few triathlons and stuff, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. So I guess two things that I can really touch on quickly for you and give you a bit of an overview is that triathlon, so half Ironman, 70.3s. I'll go and do basically like a 3-year cycle of different locations and then add parkrun into that. So if I go to Cairns, which is coming up in June, I'll go and do 2 parkruns up there to tick them off and complete them whilst being away for a week. So it's a means for doing the race itself, but then it's also some downtime post-event, usually because of all the hard work that I put into that training for those events, because they're not just a walk in the park, as parkrun's slogan is. Sorry to use a bit of a catch cry there, but that's how I do it. And I guess another degree or add-on to that is that I add in golf as well. So I've been lucky enough to be on the Australian Golf Digest magazine, their ranking panel of the best courses in Australia. So in a 2-year cycle, we've got 25 different courses to go and see. So if you live in Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth, Sydney, that's quite doable. But when you're a little country boy, Canberra boy, it's a bit hard. So that's why I do a lot of travel for those reasons. So to go away and do the Ironman is the big carrot, and then secondly is parkrun and golf, and it takes me to some amazing places that I may not otherwise have gone to. And people that I may not have otherwise met. So it's a fantastic thing, and it fills my cup enormously to be able to go and do all 3 in 1 week.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I know that you post quite frequently around your tours around different golf courses, and I'm thinking, okay. So you've just connected the dots there. So you've obviously linked to a publication where obviously you rate them. So how did you get onto that? Is it just through playing golf and your interest, and you were just a talent that someone identified one day, or what?
No, so I guess the short story is my cousin and my best friend and I were playing golf in Sydney at Macquarie Links, just outside of Campbelltown. And it was the top 100 course, and on the drive back, we decided to get amongst it that year and the next year and try and play a couple more Australian top 100 courses. And then, I think it was Easter 2018, we're at the Sunshine Coast on a little family holiday, and I got an email. Actually, no, sorry, I got a direct message on Instagram from Australian Golf Digest magazine saying, Tyson, you've played 70 odd of the top 100. We should have invited you to our ranking panel many years ago. So that was quite an experience having that come through. I felt pretty chuffed actually, Billo, to receive that invitation. In life you get some really good ones, and that was certainly one of them, to be part of that. So don't take it lightly. It's a great gig.
No, that's good. So what comes first in the context of chicken before the egg? Because I know your father quite passionate about golf too. So was he into it before you, or you into it before him?
Yeah, no, Dad was before me. So my uncle, so Dad's brother Wayne, and I, when we were down at the coast, Christmas. So Pop Bob had a coast house down at Mystery Bay, which is near Tilba, which is, I guess, the reason why I want one down at Narooma, because I love that area, and we've spent many, many years as kids, down at Narooma, down at the beach there, and especially at the golf course as well. So when we were kids, we'd go and knock about and play, but yeah, then when school came on, I guess high school, and then after that, we sort of didn't really play as much. And then I think when we all sort of got to about our 30s, that was a reason to reconnect, I guess, with good friends. And golf is something that's very much like parkrun. You can travel for it, and it doesn't matter whether, to use you as an example, Billo, like I haven't seen you for a little bit, but, a day of golf and a parkrun catch-up can easily happen, and that's what I love about both of them. They're very similar, actually. I was having a conversation with Tracy on the weekend about it, actually. So, yeah, they're very, very similar in their, in their ways, so...
Well, you could actually kill two birds with one stone, so to speak, and you could actually attend the newest one in Victoria, being Pyramid Hill Golf Course Parkrun. So there you go. You could play golf and do parkrun at the same time.
I know, mate. I've looked it up. It looks like it's the place to go. It's not far from Mum and Dad's. And when you say not far from Mum and Dad's in Australia, that's probably 2.5 hours away. So... as my parents on Saturday morning say, just ducked up the road or just ducked down the road. So,
yeah, I was just going to say, in Australian slang or Australian terms, it's the next driveway along.
It is, mate. It is, mate.
So, obviously, both you and I, we're both very passionate about our parkrun.
Yep.
And I love nothing more, and I know you're the same, of seeing new people come along. Now, if you were to talk to an absolute stranger that knows nothing about parkrun, and you had to try and encourage them to come along, how would you go about it, you reckon?
Well, I think it's the same as the message that's coming from HQ in both the UK and in Australia, is to try and take that, as much as that word says parkrun, to try and curb people's fear of that word that's a three-lettered word that starts with R. And that absolute stranger needs to know that they can feel comfortable coming along and going for a walk. And that's the avenues that HQs around the world are trying to, break down those barriers of that word. We all know that word, but yeah, to get people feeling safe and comfortable, right? Because if you go to, I don't know, even if you went to Braidwood Parkrun, there's still going to be 30 people there. If you go to Albert Park in Melbourne, there's still going to be 1,200 people there. So it's getting people feeling comfortable. It's, I was anxious the first time I went as well. So I've got to take a step back to when I went to my first one and recall that and remember how I felt and use those memories to encourage people to getting along and feeling safe about doing so. I think the biggest thing is to say to someone, come with me. Come with, your neighbour, or come with your best friend. And I've seen that multiple times where, especially for women, I think men, not to bring men down or women down in any way, but I think for ladies to go along, it's probably, a bit of a daunting thing. So to take a girlfriend along or their mum or whoever, and it does help if you know someone, but if you're an absolute stranger to it, then it's something that you probably need someone to actually come with you. So, TAILWALKER.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. Yeah, and look, it's interesting you say that, because pretty much within the last couple of pages of PSH's books, he actually pointed to his favourite volunteer role now is parkwalker.
Yep.
And that he loves nothing more than rocking up to a parkrun where he's virtually not known and he can walk along with somebody, and he just gives a really quite an enlightening story around walking with a first-timer and her granddaughter and what was involved in that. And really that's what it's about. I mean, I think yourself, my other two guests, the key theme here, and also the theme within PSH book, is all about community. I mean, parkrun means so many different things to so many different people, from helping people and individuals in their daily walk with their mental health, their physical challenges. And it's actually interesting too, just to, while we talk about it, as you know, let's call it Statgate, with a lot of the stats being removed from the global web pages. And a big part of that came about is because people felt intimidated about competing with elite people. I guess if there's one message that I personally would push home to anybody attending, particularly someone who's attending, they're very new within their parkrun journey, the only person they should really be competing against is themselves, and that is it. Be the better version of themselves than what they were last week or the week before that, and so forth. And that's the take I would take from it.
Absolutely.
Now, just a couple of questions. I was just looking at some of your numbers here, and obviously Point Hard Pond is the one where you've actually attended the most at. You've had 57 volunteers there, naturally, because you were a co-ED, and you had 20 runs there. Now, there's one there that says unset, volunteers 39. Is that a closed facility or something?
That says
what's that one? Do you know?
What did
unset. Volunteer 39 times.
Yeah, that's for that's the volunteer credit that you get for an event director.
Oh, okay, right,
Does that
okay,
say 39
yeah.
when you're looking at it?
Yeah, 39, correct.
Yeah. So I don't think too many event directors really care too much about that, but it means in a small story that if you don't have the time to go and do a volunteer elsewhere, they're going to provide you with that because that's your role. So directors that might have just done just literally been there, not done any role, then they get provided that volunteer credit each weekend for them giving up their time.
I mean, look, I wouldn't say they don't do any role. I mean, behind the scenes, they do a lot in setting up volunteer rosters, doing volunteer call-outs, social media publications, run reports, all that sort of stuff, and that takes time. So, I totally agree with that. I mean, again, that's probably one of those ones where people will debate it and say, "Oh, well, if you're an event director of a good location that's got a really good, strong, solid team, then why should you get it?" Well, at the end of the day, they've probably worked their backside off to get that strong, solid team. And every parkrun location, irrespective of size, has the capacity or the capability of being able to do that, I believe.
Yeah, it's a very small reward because, as you said before, the time and effort that goes into getting the damn things started, they should be rewarded every weekend, I think, no matter where they are and who they are.
Yeah, definitely. So I can't recall where we're due to catch up again in the future. I don't think there's anything in the near future, because I know I'm well, it's one of those things. My list will change from. Well, most of the time it's pretty stable, but it can change quite frequently throughout the year. But look, thank you very much for playing your part and what you give to the parkrun community. I know you're a beam of light, and you're a happy guy that likes to encourage people, both physically in person at a parkrun event, but also via the social media channels. So for the benefit of the listeners, if you happen to be out and around at a parkrun that Tyson's at, look, there'll be no doubt you'll recognise him. He'll be the one that'll be probably laughing and jumping around and bubbling around like a little schoolgirl. But that's okay. We need more people like you, mate.
Yeah, well, if you can make someone's day, Billo. I lost my grandfather there a month ago, and he always said, make someone's day by giving them a compliment, and making someone's day by putting on your big big smile no matter what's going on behind it. You can always smile and say yes, thanks, and encourage people, because it just takes one person in that day at parkrun, and you say congratulations, good job, well done, and they walk away and they return. Yep. So retention at parkrun, not many RDs will say it, but I guess that person that comes back the second time, so we touched on people that go there for the first time. There's also anxiety for people that go back for that second, third, fourth time, and they still don't know anyone. And there's plenty of people that have walked away from it as well. So if you can encourage that person that's been there the third time or the ninth time by, putting on a big smiley face or saying, geez, how good was that today? Well done. Then that's a great thing that you can provide people is, and it's easy, it's free. It's like parkrun.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and I totally agree with that. I mean, and I guess that's one advantage of doing a role like a parkwalker or tailwalker is you've got time. Most of the courses have a return leg. There's not too many that are full loop where you don't see, people ahead of you again. So there's plenty of opportunity for you to, say good day, well done, that sort of thing. And as you've already alluded to just there, that could be the key difference between someone having a ripper of a day.
Absolutely.
Because they could be somebody that particularly, I mean, look, I'm not going to isolate it and say a senior person, but,
Absolutely.
Saturday is their week to get out and be social. So 100%, mate. I think it doesn't hurt to encourage people. Because I think it's important to actually embrace anybody within the community environment to definitely one such as parkrun. So I love your work. Thank you very much for what you bring to parkrun. You are a credit to parkrun within your area, within your region, and I know that we've got plenty of mutual friends that probably. Look, and you know what? I couldn't give a stuff what people think of me with some of the things I post. I do it because I love it, and that is it.
Absolutely, and that's why you're going to get heart emojis from me, mate, and fire flames on Instagram, all the time, because I love your stuff, because, we are very similar in that. And, like you said, it doesn't matter what people think, as long as you're out there encouraging and having a good time, then you can't please everyone. The election was run and won on the weekend, mate. They didn't please everyone, so...
No, well, the results showed that. God help the day that the three amigos get together, being yourself, myself, and the Viking. I think that'll be an interesting day at a parkrun.
Yeah, no, we should. I know that they do the Palm once a year, but I don't know. I think we should do something somewhere. I mean, there's a good collection of us, like-minded guys and girls out there on the western, the eastern seaboard. So got to get a couple of those Northern Teritory friends of mine across.
Not that I want to cross over and steal the thunder from fellow podcasting, parkrun adventurers, but the Palm is definitely something important. There's two places in Australia it hasn't been yet, ACT, and the other one is Victoria. Well, most of us know about Victoria, that's not going to happen, but there's no reason why it can't happen in the ACT. And I reckon, and I'm going to tip on this, that I reckon the next one next year will be the ACT, in which case, bring it on.
Billo, you'll have to tell me secretly off air, mate.
Oh, I don't know. I really don't know. There's been no discussion about it. If there has been, I certainly haven't been privy to it. And really, at the end of the day, I don't want to take any credit for parkrun adventurers. That's their own beast. The team there do a fantastic job in embracing the parkrun spirit in the community. This podcast is more about the individual's experience and the journey that I think there's been a hole within the podcast sector in relation to this, because I know you would have, I definitely have heard many stories, and this is why, I decided this is what I'm doing. This is going to be my baby for a while. So thank you for being a part of it. I appreciate you making the time and actually showing such enthusiasm when I actually invited you to come on board. So thank you for sharing your story. I look forward to seeing you again at a park run some stage in the future. So until then, cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. Love your work, Billo. Don't change. Keep it real, brother. Love the parkrun life.
Thank you.
So there you go. That's a wrap on another edition with a guest. If you liked that episode and you're interested in looking at the back catalogue or being notified when more come out, please subscribe and like because that's your way of being able to get notifications.